Hey, it's Lacey and welcome back to Satoshi Gaming. Today I'm going to show you how to craft. We're going to go over the basics of crafting in Hokko Life, and I'll also show you a basic furniture set build and how to do it, along with a speed build for some extra items that you might need to move somebody into a house. So we're going to head to Sally's workshop, and inside you'll find 3 crafting tables. They might not all be here originally. The first 2 on the right will, and the left one you need to unlock. So you'll see a crafting table, a design bench, and a paint station. And then there's Sally, and Sally's kind of a crafting station all on her own. So you'll want to talk to Sally to buy stuff, and she has in her first tab blueprints, and these blueprints are what you'll need to build items in the game. Each blueprint costs a certain amount, and you only have to pay for it once to unlock the blueprint, and then you'll have access to it. The second tab has building materials you'll need. You'll definitely want cushions and fabric, because you need fabric to make the cushions, so they'll be useful for beds. And then other various crafting things such as paint and fabric dyes and fabric patterns, stone slabs, lamps. You'll want lots of these things in order to get started crafting. The more designs you want, the more dyes you may need. The third tab contains pieces, and you need to buy pieces in order to build custom pieces of furniture. So you'll want to unlock the basic wood pieces, which are the top 5 rows, as soon as you can afford them, pretty much, and also the fabric pieces, which is the second one on the left, and then maybe some stone pieces. The rest are kind of optional. You absolutely do not need all these pieces, but they will make crafting a lot easier the more choices you have to build from. Once you've unlocked all your pieces that you want to have, or maybe you've started to unlock some things, wooden planks is the easiest thing to build furniture out of, so I recommend always having a good supply of wood and wooden planks on hand. You'll also probably want to have lots of grass. I recommend a grass farm if you can make one somewhere, so that you can have a constant supply of grass tufts to make cushions for furniture, seats and chairs, pillows and bedding. So you'll want to get what you need at the crafting table, and then you'll want to head over to the workbench where you'll actually build the item. For this tutorial, we're going to use a single cedar chair, and you can see the tools. You can zoom in and out. So with your camera, I'm using a controller, so you can zoom in and out with your triggers, and then you can also rotate the camera at various angles using your thumbsticks. So this will help you a lot in taking a look at your build and making sure everything lines up okay. If you click in the right stick, you'll see that your guides come up to show where a person might be sitting on your chair. And this is really useful because when you place your seat bottom, if you put it right here, you totally mess it up. And when they sit down, it'd be like in their chest. So it won't look right. So you want to make sure the seat bottom is under the butt of the guide, so that you'll actually have the person when they sit down actually sitting on your chair. So these guides can be really useful, and it can also show you the max height and width and size, which you can also check in the info tab, which is X for a controller, to see if your build is to scale. So if it's too big, that green checkbox on the info tab won't be green. So if, say, for instance, something's out of the scale of the chair design, which that's weird that that's not, because you won't be able to build like that. It needs to be within the guides. So let's make it a little bigger just for sake of an example here. You can see that green check mark went away, so I would not be able to save this design. So you want to make sure your build has a green check mark while you're working on it. And I like to check occasionally as I'm going, just to make sure, especially if you're getting close to the edge of your build frame on the guides. So you can toggle your guides on and off while you're building. Sometimes they're kind of in the way while you're building, so I like to turn them on and off as I go, just so it's useful when I need it. So the guides and info tab are very important, and then of course camera angle. If you hit Y, you can access all the pieces that you have available. The first tab defaults to all pieces, so if I don't have the items on me, it says insufficient resources, which simply means I have that item unlocked, but I don't have the resources to craft it right now, so I don't have it on my person. If you bumper through, you can see all the various things you can build with. So I made a bunch of wood planks before I started because, like I said, wood planks are the easiest thing to build furniture out of. So I'm going to just go ahead and grab a basic wood square, and we're going to show you some of the tools here you can use. So putting it down, if you hit tab on your keyboard, you can actually lock things into place. So when I move things around, you can see it's kind of on like a grid So it's like magnetic basically, and is locked onto a grid so things will line up properly. Sometimes that's not very useful. Sometimes you want to have free reign of where things go, so you can tab again to turn that off, and you can see the icon on the top left disappeared. And now I can move it wherever I want, a pixel at a time. So you can have more control that way. But if you're just getting started, I recommend turning on the magnetic locking. So it's just tab on the keyboard, and then you'll have a little more of an easier time lining things up. So it's also useful to know that you can duplicate items using right bumper. So if you hover over the pink little icon in the middle and hit right bumper, you can make a copy of something, so you don't have to make multiple versions of the exact same thing, which is really handy if you're doing something like, say, a bridge and you have a lot of wood planks on the ground. You can just copy those and then move them into place, so you don't have to remake them. You can delete items using left bumper, so if there's something you don't want there, you can hit delete using left bumper, or undo if it's something you just did. So the other controls that you have access to are moving, which are left on your D-pad. You can move an item up, down, left, right, forward, and back, and this is really handy in putting things into place, and you'll want to use your camera rotations while doing that to see where it lines up on your blueprint. And again, that is just left on the D-pad. If you hit up on the D-pad, you get rotation controls, so you can rotate things in 3 different directions, which is very useful. As you could imagine, some things need to be up and down, vertical or horizontal. Some might need to be rotated at an angle. So up on the D-pad will give you rotation controls. If you hit right on the D-pad, you'll get the resizing controls, so you can make things longer or shorter, fatter or skinnier, and thicker or thinner, and this will be used plenty. All these tools are very useful. So that's how you resize an item, and nothing usually comes the size you want it, so you'll end up probably using that quite a fair amount. So we're just going to back out of all these, delete our piece, and we're going to make a single-seater chair for this example. So this is going to be a very basic chair, so we're going to put down a wood-planked square, and we're going to turn on our guides so we can see where the person will be sitting, so that it's lined up with his butt, so that he's not falling through the chair. And we can use our info panel to make sure it's the right size too, and not too large, too small. And so we'll just line it up with our guides, and you can turn those back off so that it's not in the way while you're actually building. Then I'm going to duplicate that seat and make the seat back. Using the rotation controls, I will flip a piece over and then just move it into place. It's nice to know that when you align pieces together, they actually will be seamless, so you won't see the seams. So if you want to make custom shaped pieces, you can kind of use this trick to line things up to make a custom piece. Especially if you paint it. Next thing we'll want to do is add some legs. So we're just going to get some of these plain square legs and put them into place. We're going to adjust the size so it looks like it fits just how we want it underneath the chair seat, because we don't want it sticking through the chair and we don't want it sticking through the floor. And once we get the right size, we'll put it in place, and I might fine tune this a little bit by turning off the lock and getting it right where I want it. And then once you have the legs all lined up just how you would like it, I'm going to duplicate and just move my legs into position. So I'm not going to make 4 legs, I'm going to make 1, duplicate it, and then move it into place. And you can fine tune here and tweak the position by rotating your camera to see just how things are placed. If you want to, you could zoom in or out here. I tend to always build pretty zoomed out. I don't like being really zoomed in while I'm building, so it's really a personal preference. If I'm doing something with really, precise detail, I'll zoom in, but if it's something like this, I don't really worry about it too much. It doesn't need to be exactly perfect to look good in the game, which is nice because there's some room for error. So there we go, we have our really basic chair, and the legs might need just a little more tweaking, and now we have a chair, it's ready to sit on. You could be done right here, or if you hit Y, you could hit Y twice and access your paints and fabrics that you have on your person. So you might have more paints and fabrics unlocked, but if you don't have them crafted, they won't show up in this menu. So I've made 1 paint, so I'm going to go ahead and paint the item just so it gives it a little splash of color, and if you don't like it, you can hit undo just like you can when making pieces. But we're going to go ahead and paint this, and then we're going to save it using the start button. You'll want to rename every item a unique name so it doesn't overwrite your other designs, because I've had that happen. This still is in early access, so just be warned, you might want to think of unique names for each piece of furniture so you don't run into that problem. And once you're done, hit A to save your item. So if we take it out and check it out here, we'll see how it looks in Sally's workshop, and that we can sit on it and are not falling through the chair seat, and it looks pretty good from the front. So let's test it from the side. See if I can sit it down here. And all looks good. Okay, so let's continue on. We're going to do a little speed build here of a matching basic table and a basic bed, just so you can kind of get more familiar with the controls, and I'll walk you through it as we go. So I've already gone ahead and made the paint and the pieces I want from the crafting table, and now I'm just going to the design table and I'm making a basic table here. So a top and 4 legs, I'm going to paint the top, and that's all there is to it. Next we're going to do a bed, and for a bed you actually don't need a cushion on the bed to count as bed to move somebody in, but it definitely adds a nice aesthetic to have a cushion on a bed, because we all expect a mattress, you know, when we're laying on a bed, and it makes it look more like a bed than just a table with a back or something. So we're going to use a cushion, and we'll get it aligned how we like. And I also have some different paint colors here, and I'm going to adjust the back a little so I can have the legs be themed like the rest of the build furniture we've done so far. But this is a basic bed, and it'll match our set. So once we have our full set complete, we can go to an empty house that we have and put the furniture in place. So if you're wondering about the different layouts of houses, this is one of the bigger ones. It's the L-shaped house, and each house has a different layout. I've done a video on how to choose house layouts and how to choose which house is right for you. So if you want to check that out, I'll put the link in the description down below, because it's kind of neat that they all look different inside and outside. This one I like because it's got a fair amount of space and it's not too expensive, so we can go ahead and pop down our big furniture pieces here, our table, our bed, and we'll get our chair down and just kind of get it situated for someone to be able to move in. So now that we got our furniture in, we've moved a villager in, and that's that. So I hope you learned the basics of crafting with this video. If you did, please give it a like. It helps the channel a lot, and also be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more videos. I hope to see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.